Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Lion. Happy whatever today is, day it is for you today. Whatever day it happens to be. I think it's Monday. Happy Monday. For those of you, it's the start of the week. I hope you're having a great day so far. And for those of you who it's not the start of the week, I hope you're having a terrible day. No, that's not what I mean to say. It does kind of sound like that though. Every time I say that, it's weird. Anyway, welcome into the stream. Today, we're going to continue on with our journey with the stream project. We are redesigning the UI for it, so I'm going to keep on keeping on. What even is this? This is a design for the bot. No, we're over here somewhere. All right, this is the redesign for the application that we have been working on. We have, for the most part, sketched it out. Let me get the app started again so you can see what that currently looks like. Why are you broken? Oh, this is the Amazon thing. Let us... Mojo's here, Juan Van is here. It's strange to say. Yeah, I mean, like, when I say it, I mean to say that for those of you whose start of the week is today, I hope that it's extra good because, you know, start of work weeks are usually kind of hard for some people, myself included, to get back in the mindset. Wanted to ask a question about using a DLL as a DAL instead of an API. Old man want answers. But for anyone who Monday is not the start of their work week or not even the start of their week at all, they've been going for a while or it's in the middle, then I hope it's just working, going nicely. Oops. There is no HTTPS profile. Still no watch. Okay. You can definitely ask. I will give you an answer, a thoughtful answer, I hope, but I won't be diving into it too much because I am wanting to make a little bit of progress on this. I don't have to make progress on this, but it would be nice to. That's definitely a good Friday question. And of course, we have people in chat that would be happy to answer, and Discord. I don't know if maybe you are being discouraged from posting in Discord, or if you haven't gotten responses for things that you post, then I apologize for that. I'll try to do a better job. Responding there. Oh, but you suck at following up. I think you'd be fine. But yeah, feel free to ask the actual question, because like the ooh, I like Mojo's question, and I'll tell you why I like Mojo's question. The statement that you made was that you have a question about using a DLL as a DAL instead of an API. And so is there a specific question to that, or is it just in general what my thoughts are on using a DLL as a data access layer instead of, and when you say instead of API, do you mean using the DLL as an API alternatively, or is what people usually do? Or do you mean using an API as a DAL? I'm looking for the marquee text. There it is. General thoughts on it. Yeah. So I only need the clarification on if you mean comparing DLL as a DAL to API as a DAL, or DLL as a DAL to DLL as an API. Camera 1, camera 2. While you're typing that out, Mojo is asking if should we do our own Blazor component library or not? And I have a few thoughts on that. Of course, the simple answer, so that I can get back to Juan Van's real quick, is that it's really good practice to create your own component library. You'll learn a lot. For example, Blazor component library. Haven't touched it for a long time, as you can see, but I have created my own component library. This is essentially a mirror of the one that I'm using for my day job, but I'm still updating the one that I'm using for my day job. And yes, I do have permission to open source it because it is my own library. I'm not getting paid to develop this library. I'm getting paid to use this library in the app. Blah, 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 blah. So they're okay with me open sourcing this. So I'll get back to that, Mojo. But for now, Juan Van says would be used to query the database in a bunch of white label sites. So I still don't know if like, okay, so the DLL, I'm going to keep asking clarifying questions until we get to the actual thing that I'm trying to compare, because I'm still kind of lost. The DLL itself is a local library that you've created a class library, you've compiled it, turned it into a DLL, and you're just referencing that directly in your project or whatever it is. That thing has the database connector. It has the logic for doing all of your queries and getting data back from your database. And there I go, falling back to data. Yeah, so that's how I think of where you're using a DLL. Yeah, that's what it would do. Okay, so that's how you're using your DLL as the DAL. So then you're saying use that, like this DLL that you can put in every application that you need it to get access to the database and get data, versus having an API endpoint that you query and ask for data and get stuff back. And then essentially in that API endpoint, that'd be the only place that you use your DLL. Okay, I understood it. Oh my gosh. Okay. If there are multiple applications accessing the same source, the same place for data, then it would be safer for those applications to go through a middleware. It might be slower. The middleware being some kind of API endpoint type system. I would prefer doing that, especially if it's reusable, because then when you make updates to the way data is being got, so you make improvements, you don't change the shape of the data or anything like that, you just make improvements, it goes faster. You do that in one place and it affects all the apps that are connected to it and trying to get data from it. You can also do replication so that you have multiple instances of it, so that you aren't single point of failure. Your API goes down, all of your data access apps go down. But you have multiple instances. I don't know how else to say it. Multiple containers, multiple instances of it running, so that if one goes down, it just fails over to another one. Caching and load balancing. So it is a bit more complex if you want to go that far with using an API. But if you think about doing updates to your DLL that you just have referenced, even if it's like a NuGet package, let's say, you take your DLL, you package it up as a NuGet package, and you have some way for all of the apps that use it for the developer to reference that NuGet package, and then as you make updates, you publish to that NuGet package feed, pull those updates into the applications. You still have to do that application by application, and then rebuild, republish, redeploy. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a problem. I would just say it's a complication. Not a When I say complication, I just mean that it's a little bit more complex if you want to consider all of the things that come with performance enhancement methods, not pills, not shots, caching, the use of things like, what is it called? Redis, all the things. One of the goals is to keep the apps all on the box. Okay, so there is only one place that the apps would be working from. You have one machine that hosts all of the apps, and so they all reference the same DLL on the same machine, sounds like. Okay. So in this case, it doesn't make sense to set up a whole API for that. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm not judging the way that it's set up. You're telling me how it is set up. I'm not going to tell you, well, change the way it's set up. Because that's just wrong. Nobody does that. My response is working with what you have and considering the question, which is DLL or API. I don't see anything terribly wrong with having a compiled application that is or a compiled library that you reference from the applications to get the data. There would be no need to add an API. Like when I say API, I mean like a HTTP web request API. You could be you could be talking about an API that is like, here is our application protocol interface where we give you all of the methods that you can call when you reference this DLL. I'll wait for a little bit more text because it looks like you're explaining some more things to me. While we're waiting for that, I will say that the page that we currently have is right here. And the app launched, but I don't know where. Oh, yeah, it did launch over here, didn't it? Right here. So we have all the content on here. We started doing the styling of the sections. We got this thing to style horizontally, these cards. However, there is this weirdness with the space underneath, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This thing doesn't have a minimum height. There's no padding on it. Unless it does. Maybe the card does have a minimum height. We'll look. But yeah, tell me more about this one, Van. And we'll keep talking about it until we figure out if I give you a good enough answer that is acceptable. Min height? Anyone? Anyone at all? No min heights. I remember now, on last Wednesday, struggling with that little gap at the bottom. I really should have taken some before pictures though. I guess we can still do that if we just go to a different commit and then take some before pictures and be able to compare before and after. Yeah, that doesn't make a difference. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I have no idea how many people are here because I typically have that hidden and turned off, so if you feel like talking, you talk. If not, I talk. And I can talk a lot. I can lean on my 5 fix. Yeah, I really don't see why this thing would be taller than the image, unless one of the images, no, they're all good. One of the images is taller than the other, and the grid container, it's a flex container though, not a grid container. But if the items are stretched, they are stretched. Yeah, I need to look at that a little closer. Do you still recommend the DevExpress videos for components? Man, I don't know how I would actually start learning how to make components again. I can tell you the process that I did before. I see why he wants to make it that way. Oh, so you're actually trying to understand your old man better as far as why have a DLL when you can have an API that you make calls to that has all the data, and then you can update it whenever you want as long as you don't change the API endpoints and the way that you make requests and the way that you get responses, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of the same thing with DLLs, where as long as you don't change the method calls, the issue with DLLs is once you change the DLL itself, if it's not like an actual dynamically linked or referenced DLL, then you have to recompile the application that's using it. But if you are loading it at runtime, then you just reload the application and you're good to go because it'll grab the existing reference. Especially if it's, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So the process I went through when I was initially learning Blazor to learn, my process was just looking at your library. Oh, no, that's a bad idea. Because that library is still essentially from the very first time I was learning how to put components together. I just needed it in an open source kind of way so that I would still have access to it if I ever left my previous job. Of course, after getting permission and everything to take the components with me, because they aren't selling software. Their software is not really proprietary per se. The actual applications themselves are for their use, but the components and all that stuff, they're not competing with anyone. They're not trying to make sure that they are the leading company with this software, so the components are very specific to them. They just use the stuff. They use the applications. So that's the thing they care about. That said, the way that I structured this one, and I guess it's in the README, isn't it? Maybe not. I don't know where you got the thing about DevExpress, but that is one of the places that I started, more specifically on the card component. So I'm assuming there's some kind of, yeah, Blazor train. Here it is. Okay. Gosh, hello Dukasoft. Happy Monday to you. Like, I wish I didn't watch this video so early on. But there was so little information out about how to put components together. And this was the only one that actually showed code for putting together a full card component. And at the time, I really needed a card component. So it taught me how to use render fragments and what the difference between having a single render fragment parameter versus multiple render fragment parameters for a templated component worked, especially if you have children components that aren't render fragments. They're only a variety of children components, because the other thing that I was trying to make at the same time was that drag and drop component. And inside of here, each drag and drop item could be one of 3 or 4 different subcomponents. And there was no real way to say, this is a list of render fragment of child items. So I needed a way to be able to learn how to have children items that register themselves with their parents, that then their parent says, okay, when I want you item to render, then you need to have a render method. And that's what I did like about this video, but then everything that I do is kind of colored by that in Blazor. And I did not really like that. Because I'm sure there were other ways that I could have been thinking about this and putting cards together. So like here, for example, inside of a card component, you could have templated a render fragment card header, render fragment card body, render fragment card footer, but here they're showing having multiple card bodies, and that completely breaks your templated component. Not only that, you can put them in whatever order you want. So we needed a way to be able to show, or not to show, but to keep track of who the child components are, what types are they, and where should they render. So the really long answer is, go ahead, use that. Use this video still, because it does teach you about a different way to do templated components. The one that I really liked as far as learning was the Blazing Pizza tutorial, because that does have the templated dialogue component. And that one teaches you more about how Blazor was intended to be used with a component that has templated sections in it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Why? Wait there, Mr. Bot. Oh, wait, it's there. That just took a long... Oh, it was the first message of the day. So it took a little bit before it generated the first set of text. Only I could use this witchcraft in ASP.NET MVC5. ASP.NET Core or .NET Framework? As you can. Nice shot. 85. Aw. Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to any of the resources that say whether or not you can start using Blazor with with .NET Framework. I doubt you could. Maybe there are bootstrappy ways to do it, but really, if you think about it, the Blazor runtime, the .NET runtime that you use with Blazor is essentially just a JavaScript file. So it's still possible it might work. You just want components, to be fair. The way that I used to put things together using MVC were partials, lots and lots of partials, and they acted just like components. So I found it very easy to transition to using Blazor. Each of these Blazor components is just a partial page, and then you use the either the partial tag helper. Wait, ASP. It's been a long time since I've done this. ASP partial, I think. Tag helper. Or what I used more often was the HTML helpers. Or something like that. It's been a long time since I've done it. And even now you have partial async or async partial or whatever it's called. Render.partial. Error handling is the worst. No worries, Napalm. You're never required to chat, and when you do, it's whenever you feel like it. So you said hi-ish. Hi back. But thank you so much, Dukasoft, for being amazing. Doing the shout out for Mojo. He likes to overcomplicate projects for no reason other than trying to learn. Catch a stream, hang out a while. Or hang out while I struggle through the easy stuff. So says Mojo, so say we all. Yeah. Oh, is it not actually holding them down? Mojo's turning me into an actual producer. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Ooh. Pretty lights. My first piece of professional equipment, well, second piece now, of professional equipment. It's really fun. Oh my gosh, it's really fun. Yeah, they both work. They both have Vegas mode. Man, that's really hard to say. They both have Vegas mode that I usually just let them stay running on when I'm not doing anything with them. Yeah. That means that one day soon-ish, I'll have something to show for it. Right? They're super sensitive though. I was not expecting the pads to be that sensitive. I'm all moving the mouse around and I have no idea what I'm doing. Where are we? We are trying to style the index page. Index.razor.sass. Okay. We are trying to figure out where this flippin' extra padding or margin or whatever this thing is here on bottom is coming from. This thing does not have a margin. Its height is set to auto. What is going on, Big Gamey? Missed your stream. completely understandable if you weren't able to. This thing here. Card body. Card body. Do you have a min height? Is that what's going on? I bet you I've checked this before. Card footer. It's at fill size. Well, one of them is, yes. So the card is at align items flex, wasn't it? Didn't we see that somewhere? Card wrapper. That's what it was. The card wrapper is align item stretch. I think I said stretch. I hope I said stretch the first time. With a gap of 2 in between. But even when I turn that off, it doesn't do anything. And then align item center would cause it to shrink to wrap the content. Yeah, and even if this wasn't display flex, then the card itself is the thing that has the extra padding, not the div wrapping the card. I just start clicking until it does something that I want. Big Gamey says, today's stream was pushed to tomorrow because Mrs. Gamey had jury service. No, boo. Boo. I mean, yay for doing your civil duty, but civic duty? But boo. Like, there are enough people, I would say, there are enough people in the world, in the United States, I should say, that would be happy to do jury duty. So why not just get a pool of people, and if you do not have a good mix or a good amount of people for your county that opt into being selected for jury duty, then that's when you start doing the selection outside of those. Because I always say, please no. I would just not like to do it. It's judging other people. Like, I judge people naturally, but not when it counts. That's terrible. Anyway, Juan, if you have any other suggestions for what to start clicking on, I will happily do so. This card here is the thing that is getting missized. So this element here. And if I turn flex off of that, then you can see it grow because the content moves underneath. It was inline grid. I turn the border on, it's fine. Still has the same padding issue. Nice. Duke is off, yes. They said, oh, wait. There was something above. The accused didn't show up, skipped bail, so they sent everyone home. That's even better. Did Dog the Bounty Hunter show up? Is that from Renegade? No. That's an actual show, isn't it? Like, IRL show. It got canceled. Apparently Juan knows it. I don't. But they said even his lawyers don't know where he is. Well, duh, if they did, they would have dragged him to court. He's the bail skipper finder. That seems like a good term for me. To me. He's still doing stuff. Don't think he has a show since his wife died. Aw. Is the picture just getting moved? No, the picture is definitely... Interesting. But that stretches it. Yeah. Oops. So I really want the height to be auto and the width to be whatever I had it at, 7 pixels, whatever it was. But it looks like no matter what I do, if the height is set to auto, regardless of what I have the width set to, you know what? Because it's getting I don't know. The gap might be staying the same height. It only looks like it's decreasing because of the relative size between the image and the first shot again, BitGamey. Jeez, man. You're a pro at this. Rigged. Gosh. Yeah, so regardless of if I have the height set, there is no padding, there is no border. There is no margin. I mean, I don't think that was the property that's causing this. The angle has to be between -90 and 90. The force has to be between 0 and 100. So the first number is the angle, the second number is the force. May the force be with you. This is changing something. Why? Why? Okay, so something is having its height set to the font size. So, dang. Wait, what? Yeah, that's still crazy. That 46, and why didn't we hear the yay? Oh. Whatever. Delay, yay. All right. So thanks to Juan Van's, just click around until you find something that works. The font size for card header is affecting the total height of most likely only the card header. That said, or what that tells me is that there is a height being set on the card somehow for the font, or for the header. Let's try this then. Either. Back to the card header. Actually, first let's look at computed. Find height. And it's not being set by anything. Min height is not being set by anything, and max height is not being set by anything. There is 0 padding. There has to be something. It's not the alt. Whatever. Gone through now. Here, height is being set by auto, which we know, because width is being set. Guard. No min height, no max height, no regular height. Grid template rows is currently set to unset. Because we're in a horizontal layout and we're just doing display flex. Man, I really don't want to do that to fix it. Gosh. It just seems wrong, you know? But it fixes it. But why? Oh. Thank you so much for being on top of these. I don't get it. I don't get it. I want to do the big gamey head bob to this song. It doesn't have a beat. How are you supposed to? It's my favorite song though. Can't get enough of it. Yes. I don't know if I can do body rolls. I'd probably hurt myself. We're gonna move on anyway and get this thing to look prettier. At our current breakpoint, we need the card itself to have a max width of 100 VW minus our left and right padding. So let's fix that real quick. And then we'll adjust the size of the image accordingly. What is that? My goodness. That. Can I make this bigger? No. This is just bad. This is bad. I'm never gonna get that out of my head now. Thanks. Where are we? We're in Canada. Card. Let's set our width. Baby tacos. To calc 100 VW minus. Do we actually have a custom CSS property for our padding? Does anyone remember if we did that? Yeah. Instant hot dog. Blech. No. No. No, not yum. Bad. Wait. The problem with doing this in using Copilot in CSS is hard in Visual Studio because it gets very confused with whether I'm trying to use the autocomplete IntelliSense or the drop-down picker or what, and it could use some improvements. So let's go to, yes, please do. Let's go to our main global styles and have a padding. Oh, right. On body, it's going to be 0. It's going to be on the individual pages. Where did I put that? Tables and grids. Modal sizing. Main layout. Yeah, I wouldn't have put it in here. So the thing that I always want to do is set global margins and paddings for the pages themselves, but I find myself wanting to have the background content or whatever stretch the entire width of the page and then have the padding only apply to the page itself, the page content. Also, if I applied the padding to the entire page, then this scroll bar here would also get squished in. So yeah, I need it to apply to the page. So the page is index.razor, but is there a global way to do this? Ish. No, because it would be to every section inside of the page and not the page itself. Because like the header, for example, maybe I want that to stretch the entire width of the page, and then each of the sections inside are the ones that get the padding. And the footer might stretch the entire width of the page. Let's see what that looks like then. Index.razor. Do you hear a hissing noise? Oh, I have it in content. And we're going to make it 2.4 rems, apparently. Back up to root. So I really like that you can F12 on the partials and go to them. The thing that would be nice is if you can F12 on a custom CSS property and go to its definition. That would be extra neat, wouldn't it? all the shoutouts, man. I was thinking more for you to look at them. There's stuff up here. In other news, I had Korean corn dogs yesterday, and while expensive, they are quite delicious. Delicious. Tukasoft said never tried those. Big Amy said I could post a link to the menu. Tukasoft says, do they deliver to Denmark? And Big Amy says, I was thinking more for you to look at than place an order. Yeah, please share. Food. Food. Check out automated. Tukasoft. Automated realms does not stream. Crazy kid. Peter's here. By the way, I'm lurking here. Good grief. I'm lurking now, and I regret speaking too much on AutoMapper. After seeing your code, it's clear that you have way more experience with it. But I did not implement it in a good way. I'm just gonna drop names. The person that recommended me to use AutoMapper, first of all, I heard about it a lot while I was streaming, of course, and I had only been using extension methods. But Nerd Herder had been like, why aren't you using AutoMapper? You're really just mapping the same properties from your entity to your view model. Let AutoMapper do it for you. And then when I started using it, because I bought into it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. But when I started using it, I ran into a whole bunch of instances where I needed to transform the data as it was getting mapped from the entity to my view model. So like trimming and I don't know what else I did to it, formatting it differently as it gets populated into the DTO. Yeah, and that too. Yeah, so Peter is saying, and I liked Napalm's suggestion to fix the major problem with Entity Framework DTOs, disable tracking. So whenever you do a query, do as no tracking. I like that. But yeah, so I was using it, and then I ended up just pretty much writing a map from, or the actual mapping rule for every single one of the properties. So it's just as much code as if I were to write an extension method to map from one to the other. Okay. I have never seen a Korean corn dog. And this is called white sugar and corn dog cheese sauce. I thought I was going to be like super hungry for this after seeing it, but none of these look appealing to me. This site was designed by Wix. Yeah, that doesn't look appealing to me. I'm sure it tastes really good, but on looks alone, not liking. I'm thinking they could have chosen a better Wix short name for their URL than that. I like 501ws76542.wixsite.com. Why buy a domain name when they give you one for free? Hi, not very fresh. I'm Dukasoft. Hope you feel better soon. Oh, I literally have fresh 7-year-old map AutoMapper experience. Not very fresh. Abstract classes. What else? Oh, dropping my pen. Then to Big Amy and Mojo, thank you all for the appropriate level of trolling. Yes, you forgot Dukasoft. It wasn't excessive? Epic fail. I can handle it, so long as I understand it. And then I usually get the potato dog with half and half. It's very, very odd looking toppings on it. I don't know. I would have to try it. I didn't drop it though. I didn't drop it. It's not dropped. Oh, I am no whippersnapper. Oh, Peter said to Big Amy, I'm getting old and can't understand some of the lingo of the youth of today. Oh, I'm no whippersnapper. Peter said to Mojo, and I still think abstract classes are less useful every year, especially as C# adds the useful parts to interfaces. I mean, like I see, or I have plenty of cases where I need to have a base implementation of a class and then just fill in the blank. In fact, in my work product that I am currently work producting, which is still open right here. Here you are. I've been working on this computer today. Picture this. Sicily, 1963. I have this data grid. Oh, I have a Radzen data grid now. I have this data grid that shows information. The information is got from the database, from one specific table in the database. However, the data is shaped differently based off of the plant and data type. And it's not very different, it's just whether some columns are shown or not. And then the other thing is the name of one of the columns. So is this called well? Is this called adsorber? Is it called tank? And if so, tank 1, tank 2, tank 3. So I have a base implementation for this data grid. And then I implement it based off of the actual type. So I could have made it extremely generic and said, whatever generic type of data you want to put in here, put it in there. But I did it to where here's the abstract class. You tell me how to get data. You have to define a get data method, and the data has to implement iTransaction. I was going to say iTransaction data because that's our financial management database. Treatment plant data. And as long as it implements iTreatment plant data, then I know that I can sort by date and by well. And it has a couple of other shared columns, but you tell me how to get the data, how to format the data when you're outputting it to this grid, etc., etc. So, yay. So abstract classes are still very helpful for many of the things that I do. That's what I was trying to say. Dukesoft says, I make the best websites. At least it's Blazor. Hello, Blazor template. But check it out. He's putting his drone footage with his links to YouTube videos. There's a new one. There's a new one. Wait. Which one of these is the new one? This one's the new one. The thing I don't like about embedded YouTube links is the inability to maximize the window. Dukesoft footage, guys. Oh my goodness. So smooth. Can your drone fish? You won't watch the whole thing. I'm sure he'll stream it. I wish Copilot didn't always lie and tell me an extension method I really need doesn't exist. Or does exist, you mean, but yeah. Mine is the opposite, where if it tells me this thing is possible by using this code and that method doesn't actually exist, It would not want to try fishing. I would not want to try fishing with it. It's quite small, 249 grams. Yeah, but if it has enough lift, that shouldn't matter, right? Bikami says, kind of ironic. The town where that place is, being 10th on the most dangerous places to live in the US, is called Killeen. Where that Korean shop is, or I'm sorry, I lost the plot. Is their link just their address? Oh, you know what? I didn't actually see that. That'd be hilarious if it is their address. 501 West Street. 76542. That'd be fun. It is. Wow. Okay. Peter said to Mojo, I already read that, but I'm going to read it again. And I still think abstract classes are less useful every year, especially as C# adds useful parts to interfaces. Dukesoft wasn't trolling, that was in earnest. That's not new, but okay. Well, it's one that I hadn't seen. It's one that you hadn't shown us. I remember seeing the Chocolate Factory video and the longer form park flying everywhere. You need to go over here. We were talking about this on Friday, but the whole splitting Visual Studio and your... Wait, this is water management. Why am I... You belong over here. So, like I said, when I'm doing my day job, Visual Studio pretty much takes up this entire screen over here, which is a 4K display. And then the application that I'm working on takes up this screen over here, which is only 1080. So that I am developing with the common screen in mind, and then when I need to see it in larger resolutions, I move it over to one of these two screens. But rarely do I ever use the tool that I should be using more often, which is, what does it look like when we're in mobile view? Oh, that looks like crap. Great. Okay, we have padding now on our content. Why does it look like there's extra padding? There isn't. It just looks like there is. Should I throw my code on my TV? Yes. Yes, you should. If you have the ability to hook up your computer to, I would recommend smart TVs or something newer than 2004 TVs, then they're pretty much monitors. They're just big monitors. That's all. Turn it on game mode. You get zero lag, zero latency. We talked about that too. Because this over here is a TV that I was given by someone that left the workplace that I used to work at. It was so kind of them. So I'm using it as a monitor, and it is a fantastic monitor. It's an LCD, but you couldn't tell. Color quality is fantastic. Bartel. What if it's a CRT? Still, they were pretty decent in 2004 for any new CRTs that were built from 2004 on, because I'm sure there was at least one. Plus, you can watch the Kardashians on it too. Show me a monitor that can do that. Mine? Hulu? Paramount? MGM? streaming services. So that's the other joy, is that you can just have your computer hooked up and use your monitor with streaming services and not have to change to the on device apps. Although there is a quality difference. Like, it seems like a lot of the streaming services, when you use the either the downloaded app for PC or whatever these are called, installed app versions, or even the browser, that their bit rate is still lower than if you use the native app on a TV. For example, Netflix. It feels like it's a lot more compressed when you use the Netflix.com page to watch stuff versus the Netflix app on the TV. But that could just be me. Turns out the extension method did have what I need. Point GPT. Whoa. That was hard to read. Point GPT. Napalm 0. I think that's how it's supposed to be read. Mojo says, your scientists spent all this time wondering whether or not they could. Coupade? Like the dance move? Coupe? It is could, but could what? Just say Jurassic Park quote. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Peter. I wouldn't have gotten it. I'm sure I've watched Jurassic Park like 8, 9, 20 times. But, yeah. I'm not smart enough. Okay, we got the cards to be the correct width. Now, actually not really, because there's this extra padding on the left, and it's only supposed to be a little padding, not a lot of padding. So where's this extra padding coming from? The joys of not fully paying attention to what I am doing. Section has... what happened to my styles? Harry Styles. Padding is default padding, which is 2.4 on the left and right. That's what happened. The padding is way over there because of the rest of the content. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. What are we gonna do? I need all of these sections, including the content inside of main, to be no wider than 100 VW. Is it because of the grid, where our rows are auto? Yeah, and then our width is 100 VW, and then our overflow is hidden, which is right, which is what I want. ¿Qué más? So our content is taking up the right amount of space, but it's children content. So for example, article has a width of 100 VW. Money. What is up with this? Yeah, that's not doing anything. TBD! Hello, TBD! Fantastic stream this morning. Mojo says to bit can't. Man, you guys have conversation going. I keep missing it. Where are we? Shout out to Peter. Thanks for the appropriate levels of trolling. So I went up too high. Kind of ironic that the 10th most dangerous place to live in the US is called Killeen, which is the place that Korean corn dog place is for. Not new. Co-pilot. Mojo said to Big Gamey, to further add on to the dangers of Killeen, K-Dog is one of W Stan shooter loop. No idea what that means, nor do I want to know what that means. I do have 30 minutes waiting. Have a 30 min-ish waiting. Probably something that I said with a at the end. Should I throw my coat on my TV? I'm laying on the couch right now. Yeah, that is one of the joys that I have. I have my standing desk with the monitors and stuff, but lately I've been sitting at the couch and using that TV as my development machine. Development experience. Gonna be standing up more often again. Turns out the extension method did have what I need. Monitor that's not a TV. Da 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 da. Jurassic Park quote. TBD came in. So it wasn't that much. Okay, so TBD came in, said hello to everyone. TBD had a great stream earlier. TBD's always super kind to us, but he has a lot of information, a lot of stuff that we get to learn from and just have discussions about because he's learning from us too, and he's always receptive to that, which is amazing. Someone did a code tidy up over the weekend, applied a restyle, 12,000 files changed in a PR. I'm eating a breaded chicken torta. It is most delicious. Everything is better with good food. True. And then you have food come afterwards and you're like, what happened to the delicious food? Now I just want to sleep. Dang, are my typos that bad? No, it's just my fault. I can't read. I would imagine more than the reasonable queries to Napalm. Because Napalm said, I want to see how many queries to Copilot are made per day that just say, fix this. Yeah, all of them. All the queries are that. Guilty. I'm tired. Just did it 3 times in a row. Or is it lying desk? I'm confused. I have no idea what about a laying desk? Desks are inanimate objects, therefore they lay. Humans are animate objects and therefore they lie. So yes, it is a laying desk. What about a laying desk is what you asked. I used to have one in university. When I lived in the dorms, my freshman year, had a desk that's normal people size desk or whatever. It's one of the ones that came with the dorm. And I had my CRT monitor on top of it. And instead of having the bed, so like it was a 2-person dorm, and what people typically did was they had bunk beds. And so instead of using the bunk beds on my roommate's side of the room, it was a very tiny room, I just had the desk on the other side of the room and then my blankets and stuff on the floor, and I laid on that. And that's where I did all of my computing stuff. Mostly just being passed out from drinking too much. Honestly, the best time to do a 12,000 file change is when no one else, and I mean no one, has outstanding branches. Gosh, I've had so many instances where I had to add a feature, and because it took me so long to create the feature, there were so many other code changes that happened, and I had refactored the way that some of the components were laid out, and so it was a pain doing the merge. I did not like it. It was a manual merge too. There. The ones that I hate are when the solution file changes. And it's like You add a project, someone else adds a project, and then just the IDs and all that fun stuff. No thanks. I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, thanks. Mojo says to Napalm, I wish I could walk through life with /fix. Napalm says, breach. TBD says, if there were no outstanding branches, Peter, I asked in stand-up, what about merge conflicts? Good question. Was not the response I wanted. Good question. Oh man, that is low. And you go low? 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 Oh my gosh, it was right next to it. Where are we? Oh, also when interacting with others, /test to see what the results are first. Yes, true. Oh my gosh. If you could do /test before saying your next social interaction thing and then figure out what happens, and you know, of course they're patient enough for you to keep doing your /test because you're never going to get to the let's just execute the code part, or I'm not. It'd be nice. But yes, you were very close. And then Mojo said to TBD, about as helpful as that's the public key. Dukesoft says, sounds like great times to be had. Oh my gosh. Koji can't read. He didn't even typo anything in that. Sounds like great times to be a team of one. Yes, let's be a team of one together, Dukesoft. I really, really did enjoy working with a team, but there were a lot of things that could have used improvement as far as aligning our values. Yes. Okay. Why is this section still so wide? Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, okay, I have an idea. The rule that we used for the width of the cards is going to instead be on the section content. What do you say? Do you like that? That's a no. It didn't care about that at all. What is 2.4 rem is a lot. Mojo, you really don't have to at me, just so you know. I read all the comments. You do not have to stop typing though. Type as much as you want. Just saying, you don't have to at me. It turns it red, and it's like, hey. I'm like, ah. Okay, context. I've been troubleshooting a CSS minification issue and saw the style bundle config was including jocks.json. When I asked what this file was doing in our bundled CSS, the response I got was, that's our public key. Yeah, but what does that have to do with being bundled in our minified CSS? Yeah, that is true. It's like, I guess you're absolutely right about that, TBD. It's like someone is telling me I have to look at this thing now, and it's like, what? I could look at it when I get to it, because I am gonna get to it. Do you not trust me? Because I don't trust me. No, I don't need to focus. That's the thing. I just need to stop seeing red. Oh my gosh, the red. I'm gonna turn it yellow No, that's even worse. I'm going to turn it purple from now on, and then your name will be obscured because it'll be the same color as your name. And yeah, here I go. I'm doing that right now. I can't. That's not an actual browser. That's the dock from OBS. No. I don't know. I honestly, if I'm going to honestly consider what I just said and why I said it, it's hard for me to pinpoint what it is exactly about being added in my own channel. It's like, I don't know. Anything that you type in chat is assumed to be for the streamer unless you add someone else, I guess. And so I'm trying to, man, this is really hard to evaluate what my motives are and what my underlying intentions are. Oh, it's this picture. It's got to be this picture. Let's fix this picture real quick. Add someone else. Oh, such a good song. Somebody else. Yes. Yes. Let's get down to business to defeat the CSS. Do you already have a sec transaction? You do not. Ergo, there are two sec transactions. Why are there two sec track transactions? What did I do? This last one is called view transaction history. Ow. Yes. So this is not shameless, Dukasoft. You are absolutely worth following. Dukasoft puts on, or has put on, one stream so far that was him showing off footage that he recorded through his drone, and it was such good footage, such good vibes, amazing community chat, just hanging out in this awesome vibey place. It was such good, yes, very. This is not shameless. Have some shame. So definitely not shameless. You deserve to be shouted out just as much as any of the other amazing streamers that you have already shouted out. I would have done it, but I'm terrible at remembering to do shout outs, and you're just like on top of it anyway. Yeah. Okay, let's get this picture sized. And we're going to do a better job of getting the pictures to size appropriately. But for now, we're just going to use a max width of the 100 VW. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this into a custom CSS property as well. Come on, you can do it. So default padding, default content max width. It's going to be that. That way we don't have to write this out every single time. We can just use the custom property. Okay, because I would like for all of the images in the section that I'm trying to style currently, which is called sec view transaction hist, to have a max width of default content max width. And that should shrink these down. Oh, whoops. The images inside of there, which would be inside of the preview image wrapper, and then the image elements. Yes. Ooh, who just won life? Is that Big Gamey? Big Gamey said his stream is postponed. Tomorrow. I'm excited for your stream, Big Gamey. I love hanging out there. And for all of you that do stream and I do lurk on your stream, I really, really do apologize if it bothers you that I'm pretty quiet on your stream and not very active. It's just the environment, the vibe that I love to be around. Yes, okay. That's good so far. Now, what else? This image here as well. Nobody would have been more surprised if it was me than me. Sorry, I did not mean to make you to be paranoid too. I did not mean to make you paranoid. I gotta be protective again. I'll catch you all around. Thank you so much for being here, Mojo. Enjoy. TBD says, speaking for myself, I just appreciate the support. When you do get to interact, it's very welcome. Awesome. Good to hear. Yes, and happy hunting. Oh man, I was gonna... Yeah. Every time it's like, I just remembered, let's talk about minifying CSS. And I already did. I mean, at least he asked a question about minifying CSS on Friday, I think it was. Might have been last Wednesday. And I'm talking about Mojo. But the thing that I do is I just use Sass, and that generates both the CSS and min.css for me. And then what I want to do, I don't think I'm actually doing it yet, but the thing that I want to do is whenever I reference it, I only ever reference the .min.css because it is very, very rare that I ever need to see the CSS itself and like sources. Well, it would be minified by this point. But it's rare that I would ever have to go in here. I'm almost always using the styles browser. I don't know what to call this section on the right in DevTools. Well, I'm not purposefully, I am not doing anything special to minify my CSS other than using Sass and the web compiler extension. So even if you wanted to create min CSS without running it through another tool, which I'm sure there are a ton of really good tools that are command line tools that you just run on your code and it generates the minified CSS and bundles them and all that. If you have existing CSS, then all you would have to do is change the file names to .scss with the web compiler extension, and then compile each of them. The thing that I don't like about it is the whole concept of bundling is not the way that I would want it to work. Because Blazor is single page application, it doesn't, at least I haven't figured out how. It's not easy to tell it when to load CSS classes. Like, I know about defer for JavaScript. I don't know if that works with CSS or not. But it loads up all of my CSS on the first load. And of course, caches it so that the next time you load, it's cached and it's already there and you don't have to worry about it. But it would be better if it loaded the CSS for my index.razor. And then when I navigate to the next page, that's when it loads the CSS for that page. Or maybe while the app is running, it does the pre-caching of the rest of the CSS. But on initial load, I would like it to only load the CSS relevant to the page that you are currently on, and then load the rest of the CSS. But I guess CSS files aren't massive. Where's my app.css? Yeah, 11 kilobytes, so it's not terrible. In the bundled CSS is 6 kilobytes. And 24 kilobytes. Right, shared components is 6, so 30 kilobytes for my Blazor UI bundled CSS. These are the ones from the isolated CSS classes. And then this is the CSS for here. This is the CSS for the main styles. I don't know. No, I have not seen this minified at all. So when you have isolated CSS in Blazor, I have no idea how to get the bundle to minify. Again, I'm sure there's a setting. Oh no. TVD says, I've now got insurance commercials playing in my head. You bundling bundler? You... Oh no, he was calling me a bundling bundler. Was I saying bundle too much? Bundle, 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 bundle. Banda, banta, banda, uban, ubud, ubada, banta. Okay, I gotcha. I'm technically asking about framework and MVC because that's my current issue at work, but it's failing minification. So if I recall, you actually do have a separate file in the MVC .NET Framework MVC applications. That's called bundles.cs, and that's where you specify what CSS files you want to bundle, or yeah, what CSS files and JavaScript files and stuff you want to bundle together. So is it possible to run a tool after the bundle step happens to minify CSS? And if so, how do you make sure that your environment... Yeah, gosh. Let's go back to server only. Host. Nope, layout. So you get this kind of thing in your head. Because it gets stuck in your head and stuff. That you would normally use. For telling it whether to use minified CSS or not. So if you aren't able to bundle while you're deploying the application and minify the, or not, aren't able to bundle, if you aren't able to get a valid min.css when you build and deploy, then this link is going to break. And I think that's what you're talking about currently. So how to get .NET Framework. .NET Framework. I'm just going to assume you're running on 4.8. MVC application bundle CSS minify. In 2022, Rick Anderson posted a blog that says bundling and minification are two techniques you can use in ASP.NET 4.5 to improve Request load time. Bundling and minification improves load time by reducing the number of requests to the server and reducing the size of requested assets, such as CSS and JavaScript. He said it just like that, too. Should have heard him. Don't care. All right, here's how you bundle. You already know how to bundle. Here's how you minify. Okay. Are you going to tell us how? Compilation debug equals true in system.web of your web.config. So that in debug, you're not minifying. Have you seen this article, Mojo? Yeah, but you still have access to edit the web.config and the bundles.cs file. I've seen it with my eyes. That include version, blah, 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 add bundle. Creating a bundle. What we want to know is how to minify the bundle. Using the star keyword, bundle caching, CSS. Yeah, it seems like I would look into it in more detail, but in case you have the time and it's helpful, it seems like this would have more information on how to perform the minification after bundling and give you some clues as to why your minification might be failing after bundling. It's been a really long time since I've done .NET Framework stuff. Something is happening when I publish to dev after changing debug equals false on local. The changes weren't applying on publish local. Oh, on publish, local was fine. I can't wait to say I haven't touched framework in a long time. Cheap bands. Gone. You're now banned. It was crazy that Suribot didn't catch that one. Go. What time? Whoa. Thank you so much for the follow. Took me a minute to see what that was. It's Tiny. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you've been lurking here this whole time, then thank you for pushing the follow button. If this is your first time here, I can tell you about the project that we are working on. And Suribot isn't here at the moment. I thought you were using do some Suribot commands. Whatever, doesn't matter. I don't need Suribot when I got a Dukasoft. Were they actually Dukasoft shoutouts? They were your own? Man, you're amazing. They are Dukasoft shoutouts. So Duka. Totally thought you were using Suribot features that I didn't know about. Yeah, Suribot isn't here. Thank you, TBD. Did Suribot get banned? Is Suribot having the same issues that Buttspot did? Interesting. Yeah, I just went to Suribot's channel and did join, and it's not there. It was, I saw it. Wait, and it worked first thing this morning for me? I don't know. I don't remember. I love my Linux air conditioner. Wait, what? Come again? Probably getting updated. Potentially. Who knows? Okay. I think that we're good on the width of the page content. Everything did squish down into whatever viewport size I have. We will have various breakpoints, like 1024, for example, would be one of our breakpoints. But right now you can see that the image width is scaling left and right based off of the width of the page itself, which I don't want. We have scroll bars the whole time, and it's because of our hero section. And then a hero comes along. So we can fix that. Unacceptable. I demand 5 nines performance from my free channel. You know what? Peter reminded me that 5 nines is just, 0.9999% up, which is not great. Oh, I should put percent. It's not great if you think about it. It could also be 9.9999. All right, let's get into the details of things. 1% uptimes. That's my kind of performance. It's not 1% though, it's 5 nines. It's even better. Yay, Sedalix just went live. Dukesoft is doing a shout out for him. He has a really, really cool bot and some cool content on his stream, interactivity type stuff, fun times. Little anxiety riddled for me. If I have him turned up too loud, I just have panic attacks. I have no idea what I'm trying to do now. Okay, we are at 100% scale, and even if we're looking at this page at the full 1080, the full browser takes up the full window, the content seems pretty big to me. If we were checking out another site, like even their header text, yeah, excuse me, can you tell me what size your header text is? Or headline text, I guess, is what this would be. Your H1 is 48 pics, which is 3 rem for me. And mine is currently... Oh, dang. Oh, you're all getting banhammered today. Hello, Jamie. Welcome in. Konnichiwa. You are 4 rem. Okay, so let's see what you look like as 3 rem. That looks pretty good. I like it better. Maybe we don't need to say with the financial management tracker. Let's just leave the headline as "Get Your Finances on Track." And we do that by updating the localization. Save. It'll do the code gen. Hopefully it will not be a root edit, but it is. Because of course it is. Welcome back to the stream. Thank you. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're doing one thing at a time. But yes, all of your opinions are welcome. They won't all be taken immediately. But right now we are at the point where we are focused on the hero section. So I am starting with the headline title, and then we'll do the subtitle, and then button will be next, of course. It definitely stand to be bigger. If we look at the design itself, we see that it is bigger. And yeah, like this is the thing that is crazy to me. This is 1920 wide. This is 1920 wide. The font size is 36 pix, which is only 2.4 rems. Interesting. So let's see what that looks like. If I can get back to Visual Studio. It's just so weird because I always think that I'm basing my font sizes and everything off of the design, and I end up just making everything super massive. Root, we know that our default font size is... Yeah, here it is. So our font size H1 is 2 times the current font size. I was not expecting that. So let's go ahead and use that then in our index.razor.css or sass. And so we're back up here to hero section with our title wrapper, with our title font size of H1. Wow, that is much smaller than I expected it to be. No, this will not be a sass. So many overloaded terms in software. This is an SASS, sass, but specifically SCSS. Version, variant, implementation, I don't know. So it is syntactically awesome style sheet is what sass stands for. And SCSS is, I always forget. I always forget what SCSS stands for. Sassy cascading style sheet. So helpful. So it's just another way of writing CSS where you can do it in a nested type of way, which CSS 3 is supposedly getting or has currently or something. I've gotten so used to SCSS syntax that I don't know if I will ever use the built-in CSS 3 stuff, but who knows? I may eat my words. You know, if I made this game in Unity, there would be collision meshes around the target, and ooh. And it wouldn't matter whether you didn't hit the vertical 1 pixel wide line of the target that isn't quite indicative or that the logo, the icon, isn't quite indicative of. Mojo says, I was told to free up capacity and got to hand off my task where our context menu was breaking with the screen reader. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hashtag not my problem. Wah. Is it ever going to come back down? I've been wanting to try a shot like that. It landed off screen. The right answer is don't use a context menu. But they won't let me do that, so not my problem. Is it a context menu in a web application? Because that's not as bad. I don't think. If it's a HTML context menu, that is. If it's like a system context menu that gets popped up, then I don't know how to handle that. Holy cow, that's tiny. It's going to get covered up by the scrolling text. If you don't see it, it's right here. Just below the cursor. Yeah, so since it's HTML, I mean, you can always make HTML accessible, HTML elements accessible. They should be by default, you know, as long as whoever created that jQuery context menu package created the elements in a semantic kind of way, then it should be fine. It should be fine. Tell them it should be fine. And then if not, then you could always use more jQuery to put the, excuse me, to put the ARIA tags on it. Yeah, but in 2013, accessibility was still a consideration. It's not like it just suddenly, 2020, we're enlightened finally and we know how to do accessibility. I think it was 508 compliance. Is that the right one? That started a long time ago. Nice shot. Yeah. Oh, I guess this is specific. Well, for me, it's always specific to government work because that's when I was working in federal service. So everything needed to be 508 compliant. Yeah, WCAG 2.2, which exceeds it. Supersedes? Maybe. Okay, we got the title fixed. Baby steps. Subtitle. Subtitle font size is going to be var. And it's not actually a subtitle, it really is a caption. But caption might still be too small. Is it called font size caption? I don't even have that. So I don't even know where these numbers came from. Do I actually have a partial with font sizes? I don't. So what I normally do is I have a font sizing partial CSS, and then I import that. And in there, I define my fonts using a really cool tool called Typescale. I give it my base font size, and then it's kind of like music where you give it the chord progression that you want. And then it gives you your font size outputs. So I like this a lot. And then I use P as my default body style because it's one rem, obviously. But they usually give me content caption size. Hey designer, did you give us a font progression? Nada. It swims. 508 government, but we aim for WCAG 2.2 AA, which exceeds it. Hi, G-Bone. TBD Gamer says, more jQuery, that's always the answer. Obviously. If you have the option to write code and not write code, choose to write code. Good grief. I hope you're having a fun day so far. We're almost at the end of our stream, but thank you for being here. Mojo said to TBD, that's never the answer. The game says, I approve of baby steps. Of course you do. Oh man, Dukasoft just went live. Oh my gosh, we get to get graced with another Dukasoft stream, guys. Yes. This is the thing. This is the thing about having notifications turned on. You get to know these things. So you know who our target is going to be after stream, which is in a few. Very, very close. Mojo says, it was the answer, but this app was started in 2019, so I have too many questions as to why we're on Framework. I was on Framework in 2019. Nope, nope, nope. So much nope. And we're going to snooze it one more time before the end. Hopefully you don't get an advertisement. I apologize if you do. There is some weirdness that the auto ads does where it still runs. I was. The applications, and it's all my fault. The applications that I was converting, I started converting in 2017. At that point in time, I was using .NET Framework MVC, and I converted them from JSP to .NET Framework MVC because that's what I knew. I hadn't been using .NET Core. I believe .NET Core 2.1 was out at that point in time, 2.1 or 2.2. And I was afraid to touch it at first because I didn't know how anything worked, and I needed to get these apps converted as quickly as possible from JSP to Microsoft stuff. And then I ended up doing all of them in .NET Framework, and there were 7 to 10 applications. I forget how many. I always forget how many. But during that time, Blazor was being released with .NET Core 3, and I was very excited about that. So as soon as I finished the last app, which again, .NET Framework 4.7.2 specifically, I immediately started using Blazor and trying to get the apps converted to Blazor. And it took me a year to get the first app converted from .NET Framework to Blazor, from MVC to Blazor. And then the rest of them, it was just like bam, 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 bam. They're all Blazor now. So yes, 1 year to convert all of the apps to .NET Framework, 1 year to convert the first app from .NET Framework to .NET Core using Blazor, and then probably 3 to 6 months for the rest of the apps. I used to do ASP.NET / ADO.NET. Two days to do the others, exactly. But anyway, we are going to end here. I'm going to start raiding out to Big Gamey. The next thing that we're going to do on Wednesday for the application is we're going to get these font sizes down. I'm going to use this site to create the font sizes that I want. And then also, yeah, I think this is what caption sizes are usually smaller now that I think of it. Raid Big Gamey. Yes, we will. We're going to raid Big Gamey's Papa. I feel weird saying that. He's had his start screen, but at least we know when he's starting. It's going to be good times. We're going to hear some good music hanging out over there, have some good chat. It's pretty much a hangout place. Feel free to join us, stick with us. But on Wednesday, we will pick this back up and finish out styling or sizing the font and then styling the rest of the hero section. And we most likely will be getting to the other 2 sections in that stream as well. So yeah, anyway, that's all for now. Enjoy. Feel free to check out the VODs for any of our previous videos on the YouTubes. ! YouTubes. And if you aren't already a part of too many Discord channels or Discord servers, feel free to join ours. We have a lot of really cool people there. It's pretty laid back, pretty quiet. But when people do ask questions, we get some really good responses, some thoughtful responses, and some trolly responses. But they're in a pretty instructive kind of way. So I still learn a lot from those responses too. Thank you for being here, Reg, as well. That's it. I'm going to stop saying now, and I'm just going to /raid soft. All right. Ciao for now. Thanks for hanging out, Irish John Games. Check out Irish John Games in a little bit, 30 minutes or so, when he starts his stream. I'm glad you are closer to 100%, although I doubt COVID will ever let you be at 100% ever again. Sorry that happened to you. I feel really... I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for you. That's just BS. I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it. And thank you for being here, Deflex. D-names. Dude. Alright. Ciao for now. Dukesoft. I know what flex mode is now. I recently acquired, thanks to Mojo, a Dukaflex. Deflexsoft. I recently acquired a complete tractor control, and it has flex mode, and I know what that does. Okay, ciao for now.